Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning or good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining. I'm starting a little bit ahead of schedule, about half an hour earlier, just because I wanted to rewatch um, the peace summit yesterday, and I wanted to rewatch President Trump's speech because there's a lot that he says in that speech. And I kind of want to, like, I was going to speak about it, but I figured I might as well watch it to refresh my memory so that we can unpack it together. You're welcome to find me on my YouTube channel, join the conversation there. So we are having a YouTube chat there. So yeah, let's get started because I think there's a lot going on. And it's really interesting about things that were said versus things that were unsaid. It's also really interesting the way President Trump was behaving. I love the fact that he was calling out certain leaders without actually calling them out. Canada, UK, France, Australia. And it was very evident in the way that he treated them. The body language, it was all there. So let's go, and we're going to watch President Trump's speech from the beginning, all of us together, and let's unpack it bit by bit. And before we begin, the White House even made like this commercial here, I guess, about peace in the Middle East. Why do I think that? Let me put it this way. I'm a little bit cynical. I'm cynical about this peace in the Middle East, not because of any efforts of President Trump, but because until the Islamic Republic occupying Iran is overthrown, there will be no peace in the Middle East. The Islamic Republic has been the root cause, the main root cause of terrorism in the Middle East since they took over in 1979. And, they even admitted that the October 7 genocidal massacre of 1,200 Israelis was basically part of their plan, right? Like they coordinated it, orchestrated it behind the scenes. They funded it as well. So, hi everyone who's joined me on YouTube. Hi Elijah, hi Amir. Good to see you guys. So yeah, like I don't think that we are going to see true and lasting peace in the Middle East. I think what we are going to see right now, one of two things. We're going to see either the Islamic Republic sort of play along, try to buy time, lick their wounds and basically try to rebuild and, get their strength back up. Or we're going to see them just collapse completely. I mean, I'm hopeful for the second. That's what, Iranians are working towards. We want the collapse of the Islamic Republic. Samantha, your comment is very interesting. I just put it up top here for people to see. So peace won't last, but Israel should not go back to war. I agree, like no country should go to war, but the reality here is that whether or not Israel wants to go to war, the Islamic Republic will bring that war to the Islamic Republic. Israel will bring that war. Sorry, I'm getting a message here. Sorry, let me just. Sorry about that. Text message, multitasking and everything. Okay, so what was I saying, Samantha? Right. So like I agree, like no one wants war, but the reality is that the Islamic Republic is waging war against Israel. The Islamic Republic has been waging war against Israel since they occupied Iran in 1979. And that's just something, that's just a reality. So I know you guys don't want war, but you have to recognize the fact that the war is coming to you, and Israel and the Islamic Republic are in a ceasefire right now, but the Islamic Republic has not stopped. And, we will dig into that a little bit as well. And, President Trump spoke about that a little bit too. But, I think it's also really interesting what Prime Minister Netanyahu is saying or not saying as well. And, I think the fact that the Islamic Republic was not present here, that is very, very telling as well, because one of the core foundational pillars of the Islamic Republic occupying Iran is the war against Israel, right? It's this never-ending jihad to eradicate Israel. That is one of the fundamental purposes of the Islamic Republic. It is one of the pillars that gave it legitimacy back in 1979. And without that war, without that jihad, the Islamic Republic crumbles. So it could also be that with this peace in the Middle East messaging, President Trump and Netanyahu have done something very, very intelligent and very smart by going after that foundational pillar of the Islamic Republic. Because if there is peace in the Middle East, then the very purpose for the Islamic Republic existing collapses, and it loses all of that support that it's gained mostly from non-Iranian Muslim terrorists, right, who just all want to wage war against Israel, and we've seen them. Like, there's like Pakistani extremists and Bangladeshi extremists, and of course, Lebanese and like Hezbollah, and like the Houthis in Yemen, and like the Hashd-e-Shabi in Iraq. So all of these like non-Iranian proxy groups who are part of the Islamic Republic's Ummah, and who have been waging war against Israel, if they see that the Islamic Republic is not calling for war against Israel, they're going to basically lose faith and then probably sort of branch off into their own things. So the Islamic Republic is in a very, very tough place right now, because they basically have to make the impossible choice, like the only course of action here, right? So let me put it this way: any logical, rational, or sane government would look at what's happening in the Middle East and say, you know what, we should sign on. Like, we want to end the war, we want peace, we want to live peacefully, right? And again, Iranians, we're normal, rational people. We have no enmity with the Jewish people or Israel. And, prior to 1979, Iran and Israel were very, very strong allies. It's the Islamic Republic that is a terrorist occupying force, occupying Iran. The Islamic Republic is not a rational actor, so you cannot treat them like you would treat normal, rational governments, right? Like, they want to wage war, they want jihad. It's their calling. It's literally, they were created, right? Like even the name Islamic Republic, right? Like, one of their core foundational ideologies is to wage that never-ending jihad. So they're in a very difficult place right now, because if any logical, sane, rational person would want to accept the peace treatment. I mean, who wants war? No one wants war, but Islamic terrorists want war, right? They're not going to come and sign on to this. Now, here's the interesting thing. I'm pretty sure that there are certain elements within the Islamic Republic that are there because of the power and the strength and whatever it gives them, but they're not necessarily ideological, right? So they're not like the fundamentalist jihadis who run around and yell Allah Akbar and want to die in the path of Al-Aqsa, right? So of course there are many irrational ideological jihadis within the Islamic Republic, but there is also an element that are there, not necessarily because they're religious, but because they want the power, right? So they're probably a little bit more rational, and they're probably looking at this going, guys, maybe maybe we should take a step back. Maybe we should calm it down a bit. And I think that's what Trump might be alluding to. And we'll get to his speech because he does mention Iran. Of course, we have to remember when President Trump says Iran, he doesn't mean the Iranian people. He means the Islamic Republic, which is occupying Iran, right? Because even the official name of the country is not Iran. Everyone shortens it down. And that's like my pet peeve. The name of the country prior to 1979 was Iran. After the Islamic regime took over in 1979, they officially changed the name of the country to the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? So one of my pet peeves is when people shorten that and they just say Iran. And then when they do that, it's difficult to make that distinction between Iran and the Islamic Republic, right? Because again, it's like the difference between saying Germany and Nazi Germany, right? I mean, you don't equate Germany with Nazis, right? The Nazi occupation was something that took control of Germany. It's the same thing with the Islamic Republic. There's Iran and then Islamic Republic of Iran that's occupying Iran. So that's what I wanted to say. Hi, everyone who's joined me on YouTube. Appreciate that. If you guys can, like, subscribe, share the stream. Let's get this going. Let's get the conversation started. So before we begin, I want to play this little commercial that the White House put out. And then we will get into President Trump's speech.
We gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It should now be clear to everyone throughout the region that decades of fomenting terrorism and extremism, jihadism and anti-Semitism have not worked. They've been a disaster. They've just killed. They've killed. From Gaza to Iran, those bitter hatreds have delivered nothing but misery, suffering, failure, and death. Through glory and heartache, we have built industries together, we have made discoveries together, we have confronted evil together, and we have waged war together, and perhaps, most beautifully of all, we have made peace together. And this week, against all odds, we have done the impossible and brought our hostages home. The God who once dwelled among his people in this city still calls us, in the words of Scripture, the turn from evil and do good. Together we've shown that peace is not just a hope that we can dream about, it's a reality. It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace. This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered.
So, it's interesting. He says, from Gaza and Iran. So again, that's like my pet peeve, right? Because this, the jihad, like he does kind of call it out. He talks about the anti-Semitism. He talks about, the jihadi nonsense or whatever. But he doesn't take it far enough, right? Like he talks about the issues, but he doesn't take it far enough to actually pinpoint the source of that. The source of that is not Iran. The source of that is the Islamic Republic, right? The source of that is the ideology that is currently occupying Iran. And guys, like I'm telling you, unless and until you destroy the Islamic Republic, you are never going to have peace in the Middle East. You're just not. It's completely impossible. Best case scenario, the Islamic Republic is overthrown. Worst case scenario, the Islamic Republic is just going to retreat. They're just going to lick their wounds and they're going to continue operating covertly. And they're basically just going to buy time in order to strengthen themselves up again to the point where they can once again resume their attacks against Israel, right? I mean, this is how these people operate. The Islamic Republic is, they're colonizers. They've colonized various countries in the Middle East, like the Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen. And that's the other thing. Like all this peace in the Middle East stuff, what about the ongoing civil war in Yemen? How come no one's speaking about that? Like the poor Yemenis people, right? Who are not just undergoing a civil war. There's a famine. There's like an 8-year-long famine that's happening, that's been going on in Yemen, right? And then, of course, look at all the conflict in Syria right now. Like that's a bit of a mess as well. So, again, this peace in the Middle East, I'm very skeptical. And unless and until the Islamic Republic is overthrown, we're not going to see that. But let's go back. I just want to play that part where he kind of like talks about the anti-Semitism and the jihad. That's literally coming directly from the Islamic Republic, okay?
To Iran, they've killed anti-Semitism, fomenting clear to everyone, and Jacob.
Here we go. So this is where he starts.
It should now be clear to everyone throughout the region that decades of fomenting terrorism and extremism, jihadism and anti-Semitism have not worked. They've been a disaster.
Yeah, we know that. We know they haven't worked. We know it's been a disaster. That's why we Iranians are trying to overthrow the Islamic Republic and reclaim our country, because that's what they have been doing for decades. I mean, it's nice that you're pointing it out, President Trump. It's nice that you're pointing it out that Islamic extremism and, jihadism and anti-Semitism doesn't work, but those are just words. And I would hope that at least this time around, when the Iranian people are getting ready to overthrow the Islamic Republic, you don't stand in their way. Now, here's the thing. This could be taken two ways. This could be either him just pontificating, or this could also be maybe he's sending a message to the Islamic Republic. I mean, if we want to take a more optimistic approach, this could be him sending a message to the Islamic Republic saying that your time is up, guys. You've tried this jihad, you've tried this anti-Semitism, you've tried to wage jihad in the Middle East, and it hasn't worked. So this could be a warning to the Islamic Republic as well. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is just, he's basically saying, all right, we're done with Iran? Or do you think he's sending a message to the Ayatollahs that their time is up? I mean, I don't know how to take this.
Jacob. It should now be clear to everyone throughout the region that decades of fomenting terrorism and extremism, jihadism and anti-Semitism have not worked. They've been a disaster. They've killed. From Gaza to Iran, those bitter hatreds have delivered nothing but misery, suffering, failure, and death.
Yeah, 100%. It's true. Like those ideologies have caused the suffering, torture, and death of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Iranians themselves, because they're occupied by that Islamic dictatorship, right? Gandalf, you make a good point. Let me just share this here really quickly. So Gandalf says, Trump really doesn't know what mullahs are. He has shown it many times. Bibi knows, Trump doesn't. I agree. Like Prime Minister Netanyahu 100% knows 100% knows and understands how the Ayatollahs think and how they operate. So I'm thinking that maybe there's something more here. Maybe there's something more because, Prime Minister Netanyahu would not agree to something if it would be bad for his country, right? Like Prime Minister Netanyahu, he is on a mission to eradicate the Islamic Republic. He has said it many, many times. They're going for the head of the snake. So this could be another move in this game of chess, right? And, again, like, I don't think, like, Israel is definitely not going to, like, let its guard down, right? Because Israel knows, and they've made it very clear in their speeches and their messages, both in in Hebrew and Farsi as well. They've made it very, very clear that they know who the enemy is, and the enemy is the Islamic Republic. Amir, I don't think Bibi was given much of a choice. Israel usually works with what it has. I mean, that is definitely true, but I also can't see Prime Minister Netanyahu agreeing to something if it wouldn't be beneficial for Israel in the end. Now, what's really interesting about this terminology of peace in the Middle East is that's something that we Iranians have been saying for quite a while, right? So we use that peace in the Middle East language when it comes to overthrowing the Islamic Republic. The whole peace in the Middle East phrase is something that our leader, King Reza Pahlavi, the current Shah of Iran, has said consistently in various of his speeches in English to people who are high up in the Trump administration. He's spoken about peace in the Middle East. I believe it was on Maria Bartiromo, and she's actually very close friends with President Trump. And my understanding is that President Trump watches Maria's show. So this phrase, peace in the Middle East, I would guess that there's a high likelihood that President Trump has heard King Reza Pahlavi use the phrase peace in the Middle East when he's referring to overthrowing the Islamic Republic. So that's another sort of clue or hint that there might be something bigger going on behind the scenes. I mean, it could be nothing, but there could be something bigger, right? Because this, peace in the Middle East, it's a catchphrase. It's a catchphrase that the Iranian opposition has been using when we're talking about overthrowing the Islamic Republic and bringing peace to the Middle East. So actually, let me see if I can find, I'll find one of King Reza Pahlavi's, I think, speeches or interviews when he does actually talk about peace in the Middle East, right? So let's see. All right. Okay. Wait, let me just put this in quotations to see what we can find here. Right. Okay. So here you can see, so on my trip to Canada, so this is from June, okay? I sat down with National Post to speak about the Iranian People's Movement for Liberation. They are key to peace in the Middle East, not a deal that can't be verified with a regime that can't be trusted. Khamenei isn't negotiating, he's buying time. So this is from June 4th. Here we go. So this is from May 9. So on May 9, he goes on Maria Bartiromo to discuss the movement of the Iranian people, the Houthis of Persian Gulf, and the path to peace in the Middle East, right? So he says the path to peace in the Middle East is freeing Iran from the Islamic Republic, not negotiating with it. So again, Maria is a very, very good friend of President Trump. My understanding from what I've heard is that President Trump watches Maria's show, especially the show that she has on Sundays. I think it's like Sunday Morning Futures or Sunday or Saturday Morning Futures, something like that. Like President Trump watches that and his administration watched that as well. So here he is back in May, so this would be like 6-7 months, like half a year ago. King Reza Pahlavi was on Fox News speaking about peace in the Middle East and speaking about how peace in the Middle East is only possible when the Islamic Republic is overthrown. So this is why when I'm hearing President Trump talk about peace in the Middle East, because he's never used that phrase before, right? This is a new phrase that he's now using. It kind of makes me think, again, given my political experience, 7 years as a politician, it's not by coincidence that politicians use certain phrases, right? And President Trump, of course, has a whole entire team around him and behind him. And, it's the team that's coming up with the messaging. It's his comms team coming up with, these catchphrases and things like that. So for them to start pushing this peace in the Middle East, and then him speaking about the fact that the Islamic republics, again, he says Iran, but we know he means the Islamic Republic. When he says the Islamic republics, decades of, anti-Semitism and jihad and extremism have failed. I mean, it could be nothing. Again, I'm not, I don't know what the future holds. It could be nothing, but it could be a signal that maybe this is the end of the Islamic Republic. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm that optimistic. I think ultimately, well, not I think, I know, ultimately, the future of Iran is in the hands of the Iranian people, and it's up to the Iranian people themselves to overthrow the Islamic Republic and, reclaim our country. But what I am optimistic about is that this time around, when it happens, I don't think that President Trump is going to throw the Islamic Republic a lifeline, right? We're not going to see a repeat of what Barack Obama did. We're not going to see a repeat of what Biden did. I don't think that's going to happen. So that's where my optimism comes in. I'm optimistic in the sense that when the Islamic Republic is toppling, President Trump is just going to sit back and let it happen, right? And that's exactly what we Iranians have been asking for from the beginning. We're basically saying, maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic, maximum support for the Iranian people. We don't need boots on the ground. We don't need money. We don't need anything. All we need is for you guys, but you guys, I mean, like the governments, all we need from the governments is to stop legitimizing the Islamic Republic, stop continuing to give this brutal totalitarian dictatorship chance after chance after chance. Let them be overthrown because, we are fighting to reclaim our country. We want to go back to what we were prior to 1979, which is a peaceful, westernized, democratic, modern country, right? Like Iran was slowly turning into like the Japan or the Singapore of the Middle East, and instead it's turned into the North Korea, right? Like the Islamic Republic has turned the country into North Korea, essentially. So let's watch, let me play this again for you guys. I know I said I was going to play President Trump's speech, but there's so much context here. There's so much so many layers to all of this. And so I'm always happy to talk politics. I'm always happy to sort of use my political experience to break it down for you guys and give you sort of the political, politician's perspective on what's going on. Because there are certain things that, I see as a politician, given my experience and how these things work, and also the things people say and don't say and their body language, right? So so I'll play this and then we will get into President Trump's speech from yesterday, and I will break that down for you. But I really do want to play this because this will give you a good example for why and how this whole peace in the Middle East keyword or catchphrase, I think is key to what might happen in the future in the Middle East.
Completely off the table.
And that was Vice President J.D. Vance yesterday at the Munich Security Conference in Washington, discussing the importance of making a deal with Iran and no nuclear weapon allowed. The comments coming as President Trump said that he believes
So this is from May 9 again, just want to clear.
Fighting with the Houthis is over. Watch.
As you know, we had a very good outcome with the Houthis, and we honor their word. I mean, they made a commitment, and we dealt with other countries that were close to them and their surrogates. and we honor all of their words. We'll see what happens. I believe that hopefully that's over with, and they'll leave the ships alone.
The next round of U.S.-Iran nuclear talks will likely be this upcoming weekend in Oman. But first, joining me right now is the exiled Crown Prince of Iran, the former, His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi is here in studio. Your Royal Highness, great to have you.
Maria, thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much for being here. Give us your take on that, what you just heard, that the fighting with the Houthis is over. Should we believe that? And what about a potential deal with this current regime in Iran?
The past 4
So I just want to say, so, the fighting with the Houthis is over. Obviously, it's not over because after that, the Houthis continue to attack Israel, right? So again, this is why you should never, ever, ever trust Islamic terrorists. Like when they say, oh, peace, fighting is over. I mean, even with the Houthis, they can't help themselves, right? So let's just go back because I want to play this without interruption.
With the Houthis is over. Should we believe that? And what about a potential deal with this current regime in Iran?
The past 40 years has demonstrated to everyone that has followed Iran that the demeanor and the pattern of behavior of this regime has remained consistent only in one way, and that is to continue fomenting regional instability and conflict as a means of its own survival by financing its proxies and utilizing them as an instrument of pressure or intimidation across the world. The Houthis are just one example of that. The majority of the funding came from Iran, the training, the weapons. So, it's not that they say we're going to quit the fight. Who is to say they're not going to start it again once Iran will start funding them again? Because this is what the regime is most likely to do. Khamenei said that this is a temporary setback, and he was forced into accepting the climate of indirect talks only to buy some time to the regime. They have done that before. So nothing leads us to believe that this time they have a complete change of behavior or attitude. And that's something that we should not fall into the trappings that this regime has set, not just to the current administration, but to previous administrations, and has always taken advantage of that in order to prolong its own survival.
I think President Trump is aware of the sentiments that you're making this morning, Reza. And I just wonder if, in fact, there is a different tact that this administration should be taking at this point. I mean, President Trump told me exclusively 2 months ago, he sent a letter to Khomeini, and then they tried to mock that letter. What is the right approach?
Look, the president was absolutely correct during his first administration. The campaign of maximum pressure paid positive dividends. It forced Iran to do a retreat, cut a lot of the revenue that the regime would have had access to. Unfortunately, it was reversed under the Biden administration. The regime had in excess of $200 billion it should not have had, which was, of course, spent on not the people of Iran who are starving on the streets, but by reinforcing their proxies. October 7th was not just a coincidence. It's a result of that continued funding of the regime of its terror network. That is the component that President Trump, during his first administration, understood. Now, and as I said many times before, including on your show, maximum pressure in itself is not sufficient to remedy the problem. There has to be parallel to maximum pressure, a policy of maximum support to the Iranian people. Now, why is this important? Vice President Vance is talking about reintegration. The Iranian people are your true partner in peace. They are the alternative to a warmongering regime that has called death to Israel and death to America since its inception. It's not just a slogan, it's an actual belief. The IRGC, as a stated mission, has to export this revolutionary ideology across the world.
So that part is key, okay? I'm going to go back and I'm going to replay that. So, this is what I said earlier, where I said that one of the foundational pillars of the Islamic Republic that's occupying Iran is this never-ending jihad against Israel and the West, right? So this is why the Islamic Republic, I don't think, will ever truly enter into a peace deal with Israel or with the United States, because one of their core foundational pillars is that jihad with the West, of course, starting with Israel and then expanding to other countries as well. So let's go back and play this, because this is what I've been saying. This is what King Reza Pahlavi is saying. This is what all of us Iranians are saying and trying to show non-Iranians that you cannot negotiate with a terrorist dictatorship, right? Like these are literally people who call for jihad and want to murder all of you. Tony, you're absolutely right. They call America the great Satan, and then they call Israel the little Satan, 100%. Like this is all common knowledge, right? Like the Islamic Republic, literally in their parliament, they're there, and all of their like jihadi terrorist politicians are like, going mag bad on Ricard, like, whatever nonsense, jihadi Islamic nonsense they put out there. So, I mean, you have to take that seriously, right? When people show you who they are, believe them, especially if they're low IQ Islamic terrorists. So I'm going to go back. We're going to repeat this part because this is important, what he's saying. And, people need to pick up on this.
Death to Israel and death to remedy the problem. There has to be parallel to maximum pressure, a policy of maximum support to the Iranian people. Now, why is this important? Vice President Vance is talking about reintegration. The Iranian people are your true partner in peace. They are the alternative to a warmongering regime that has called death to Israel and death to America since its inception. It's not just a slogan, it's an actual belief. The IRGC, as a stated mission, has to export this revolutionary ideology across the world. They are not there to sue for peace and coexistence with their neighbors or beyond. That's what is missing in the ultimate understanding.
So, did you guys get that? So he's saying that part of its core purpose is to export jihad around the world. So even like here back in May, he is warning everyone that these people, these jihadis, these terrorists do not want peace with you and will never have that peace with you. Instead, what you should do is you should ally yourself with the Iranian people who are occupied by the Islamic Republic. And what the Iranian people are saying is they want to overthrow the regime. They want to get rid of the Islamic Republic. They want to get rid of Sharia law. They just want to live in a normal country, just like they used to prior to 1979, when Iran was a constitutional monarchy. And prior to 1979, Iran was one of the biggest allies of America in the Middle East. Right. So that's what he says when he says, give the Iranian people a chance. He means give us a chance to overthrow the regime, give us a chance to get rid of the Islamic terrorists in our country, and then we can have peace. Because we Iranians, we do not want war with anyone. We have no enmity with anyone. It's the Islamic terrorists, right? It's the Islamic terrorists and their jihadi ideology that is at war with the world. In fact, the Islamic terrorists are at war with us Iranians. The Islamic terrorists are murdering us Iranians every day in the name of Allah and Islam and Muhammad and all that nonsense, right? So we're all fighting the same war here. Unfortunately, Iranians themselves are the biggest victims of this Islamic dictatorship. And Amir, you're 100% right. Iran and Israel were also very, very close allies. And, when the Islamic Republic is overthrown, we will go back to being allies again because, Iranians and Jews were both indigenous to the Middle East, to our respective homelands. Of course, Jews in Israel, Iranians in Iran, and, our shared history goes back thousands and thousands of years before Islam was even invented, right? So, 2,000 years before Islam was invented, Iranians and Jews already had a shared history, right? Like these are historical facts. And so it's this foreign Islamic ideology that is basically the enemy here and is causing all the troubles in the Middle East. All right, so let's go back and let me go back to what he was saying here.
Or foreign governments, Iran is revolutionary ideology is America since its inception. They are your about reintegration. The Iranian people are your true partner in peace. They are the alternative to a warmongering regime that has called death to Israel and death to America since its inception. It's not just a slogan, it's an actual belief. The IRGC, as a stated mission, has to export this revolutionary ideology across the world. They are not there to sue for peace and coexistence with their neighbors or beyond. That's what is missing in the ultimate understanding of foreign governments looking into Iran as to what is the alternative here. Of course, Iranians want to be integrated in free societies because they share the same values of the free world, not this regime. So negotiating with a regime that in its own DNA is simply incompatible with such integration is a waste of time. And the regime is gaining by dragging the feet to prolong its existence, hoping that maybe they will survive this administration.
See, so this is where the title of my space comes in. Even like back in May, King Reza Pahlavi is saying that the Islamic regime is just going to drag its feet, hoping that they will, outlive the Trump administration. And then, a weaker administration comes in the next term, and then they can just go back and continue their Islamic terrorism, right? So that's exactly what King Reza Pahlavi was warning back in May. So let's go back and see if you guys catch that. And by the way, like these yellow flags here, these are the flags of Hezbollah. Hezbollah is like, of course, a terrorist organization. And then these flags here, that's the crab flag of the Islamic Republic. I call it a crab flag. Most Iranians do because the middle kind of looks like a crab. That's not the flag of Iran. You know what? I will bring you the flag of Iran. I have it with me. It's just out of reach. I have to go off camera to get it. Actually, you know what? Let me do it right now, guys. Give me a moment. I'll be right back. Okay. There we go. So this is the flag of Iran, okay? The lion and sun flag. What you see in the video, those are the like terrorist crab flags, right? So that's the flag of the Islamic Republic that says like Allahu Akbar on it or whatever. By the way, like Allahu Akbar is Arabic. We're Iranian. We speak Farsi. So that is not our flag. That is the flag of the Islamic occupiers who took our country hostage in 1979. This here is the real flag of Iran, as you can see. So let's continue.
With such integration is a waste of time. And the regime is gaining by dragging the feet to prolong its existence, hoping that maybe they will survive this administration only to come back again.
So again, what he's saying is that the Islamic regime is going to try its best to, survive this administration so that when the next one comes, hopefully it'll be weaker. The Islamic Republic always likes it when Democrats are elected because Democrats always work with the Islamic Republic and enable them. This goes back to Jimmy Carter, who actually helped bring the Ayatollah to Iran in the first place. So for some reason, Democrats have always been supportive of Islamic terrorism. I don't know why, but that's a whole other issue to get into. Anyway, so let's continue.
To prolong its existence, hoping the regime that in its own DNA is simply incompatible with such integration is a waste of time. And the regime is gaining by dragging the feet to prolong its existence, hoping that maybe they will survive this administration only to come back again and continue its policy of radicalism and violence. So when you look at Iran, I think this administration and many other governments should look beyond the regime itself and look at what's on the streets of Iran. What's the demand of the people? The people who chant, they lie to us. They say America is the enemy. Our enemy is right here in Iran. That's what the people are saying. Yeah. So that's the big distinction that needs to be understood at every phase of any discussions going on.
It's a very important point, and that is why the people of Iran keep chanting for you to return. I mean, I want to get your take on regional partners and potential help from the region. President Trump is set to visit the Middle East next week. He told reporters yesterday he's yet to make a decision about potentially renaming the Persian Gulf. Watch this.
Oh, that's ridiculous. So the Persian Gulf thing was a troll, but anyway, so there you go. So there is why. So King Reza Pahlavi, the leader of Iran's official opposition, and of course the current Shah of Iran, outlines very clearly in that interview with Maria Bartiromo back on May 9 as to why you cannot have peace with the Islamic Republic because they are a terrorist entity. One of their core foundational pillars is to export jihad against Israel, against the United States, against the West. And the only way to have lasting peace in the Middle East is to support the Iranian people in their attempts to overthrow the Islamic Republic and reclaim their country. And again, he says, we don't need boots on the ground. We don't need money. We don't need anything like that. What we basically need is for governments to stop legitimizing the Islamic Republic and give the Iranian people a chance to overthrow them and to basically, return the country back to normal, which is what Iran was prior to 1979. Iran was a huge ally with the United States. Iran was a huge ally with Israel. And that's what we want to go back to. And that's what Iranians are fighting for. So that's a little bit of context into this whole key phrase of peace in the Middle East. And again, why I personally think that Islamic terrorists are buying time. So with that background context in place, let's go and watch President Trump's speech together, because I think that it is incredibly telling. I think it's incredibly telling. And I think that there's a lot that's being said and unsaid. And as we go through his speech from yesterday, I'll, give you sort of my input as a politician, a former politician with my political experience, because the body language is also very interesting. And there's definitely some funny parts in there. And there's also a reason why he is behaving a certain way towards certain politicians versus other politicians. And we are going to dive into that and go over it. So, guys, without further ado, let us go.
Kindly be seated. In the name of God, the gracious, the most merciful, Your Excellence, Your Majesties, Excellencies, and Highnesses, peace be upon you and God's blessings.
So that's the president of Egypt, of course.
I welcome you all.
Do you guys remember when Biden actually mistaked the president of Mexico for the president of Egypt when he was speaking about the Gaza conflict at some point? Do you guys remember that when Biden did that? It was ridiculous. But anyway, this is the actual president of Egypt, not the president of Mexico. Thank God Biden's not around anymore.
To Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit at this historic milestone where we all together have witnessed the reaching of Sharm el-Sheikh agreement on ending war in Gaza, and the birth of a glimpse of hope that such deal ends an agonizing chapter in the history of mankind and opens the door, ushering in a new era of peace and stability in the Middle East. The deal offers a better morrow to the conflict-fatigued and strained regional populations. And now we receive the valorous peace leaders that attained peace in the entire world. Allow me to invite His Excellency, the American President Donald Trump, to join the peace lovers leaders who advocate for peace in the world. And I would like to express our profound appreciation to you.
So, guys, just a quick thing here. The standing order is also very important, right? And it's also really important to, let me put it this way. The people who are closer to the podium are more likely to be within the frame, right? Within the frame. So the people, Trump's team who organized this, they obviously decided who is going to stand where, and they made a very conscious decision to have the president of Italy and the president of Pakistan right in the middle behind Trump, right? And then you see Keir Starmer, and then Mark Carney is off to the side, and and then on this side, is that Macron? I guess that's Macron, maybe. Am I wrong? Let me know. I think that's Macron. But it's very interesting that Italy and Pakistan are front and center. But, the countries that you would think would sort of be closest to the United States, like France and Italy and Canada, are not in the center. They're a bit further back, right? That is not by accident. That's not by accident. That's on purpose. I can guarantee you that, and of course, Anthony Gutierrez is right here because he's just like a useless terrorist-loving communist, right? And President Trump knows that. And so Trump wanted to probably make sure that this Gutierrez communist terrorist guy is not in the frame at all. So keep an eye out. So the frame here. So with this frame, okay, and we'll get to it. We'll have the close up. But with the frame, you'll see that just by that on its own, President Trump is basically saying that Italy and Pakistan are more important to him than France, UK, and Canada. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's not by accident. You would normally think that the three would be right in the center, but they're not. And the fact that Pakistan is there, Pakistan is more important than UK and Canada. It just lets you know how far UK, France, and Canada have fallen when it comes to how much Trump respects them, right? Like, and as we know, the UK, France, and Canada right now are pretty much overrun by Islamic terrorists, right? And Trump has even called them out on that. So that there's the very interesting positioning of the politicians, right? Like these people, usually when you go up, there's like a marker, you stand on it, you look down, your name is there as well. So you know exactly where you're standing. So, so there's a political message that Trump is sending out. And, a lot of non-politicians might not pick up on that, but anyone in the political world will automatically pick up on that. And they will be like, why is Italy and Pakistan more important than UK, France, and Canada? Right? So there you go.
Your Excellency, at this critical circumstance reflected in your proposed plan for ending this tragic war, a war during which humanity incurred significant losses. I would like to thank our partners in United States, Turkey, and Qatar for their dedicated efforts. And I reiterate our support and aspiration to the execution of this plan, creating the essential political horizon for the implementation of the two-state solution, for it is the only pathway to the fulfillment of the legitimate ambition of both Palestinian and Israeli peoples, turning over the conflict page and safely live.
Also, a pro tip for any of the men who are ever in like a place where they're standing on like a podium or in a group of people or something. Little pro tip for you. Do you see how President Trump is standing? His arms are at his sides, versus let's say how Mark Carney and Keir Starmer are standing, where they're kind of like that. Which stance looks more powerful and confident to you? The one where, arms at your sides, or the ones where they're holding their hands like little girls or something? I don't know, right? Like this stance here is definitely way more feminine. And, I don't care about the whole, that's, misogyny, whatever. Like, I don't care about that nonsense. Like, this is not misogyny, whatever type of space. But so I'm just going to be blunt here, right? They right now look like little sissy girls, right? Like when you compare their body stance to the way President Trump is standing, Carney, Starmer, and Macron literally look like little sissy girls, right? Whereas President Trump, he's standing, very like strong, confident, hands at his sides. And Amir, you're right. Like never put your hands in your pockets. Putting your hands in your pockets, very disrespectful, right? So again, look at them, and then even look at like these two here, right? Like they're standing, pretty good. Now, this guy here, this Arab dude, I forget who he is. I don't know. He's from one of the countries. For him, the reason the stance works is because of his outfit, right? His robes. So a little bit of like political fashion tips for you here as well. So because of his robes, it also kind of makes sense because he's sort of like, gathering them so they're not like super flowy. So in this case, like it works. But even here, you can tell the way that he's holding his hands, they're clasped, right? It's like a strong, firm grip. Whereas with Carney and Starmer and even Macron, it's more of like a hand over hand type of thing, right? Like whereas the Arab dude, he's like a firm clasp. So again, right? But these are the small things in like body language that can make or break your image, right? So especially in politics, right? So just based on how these people are standing and how they're holding their hands, it says a lot about their body language. It says a lot about their level of confidence as well. So there you go. Just a little pro tip for the men. Don't ever stand like Mark Carney or Starmer or Macron. Stand like Trump. Stand like that. It might feel weird if your hands are just at your sides and you don't know what to do with them, but you just look more confident. Okay, there you go.
Excellency President, you have demonstrated that genuine leadership doesn't mean war waging, rather the ability to bring it to a halt. We trust your leadership that is capable to carry out the current deal and to execute your entire staged plan. Excellency President, let Gaza war be the last of wars in the Middle East. Majesties, Excellencies, and Highnesses, Egypt launched peace trajectory in the Middle East nearly half a century ago, specifically in November 1977. When the late President Anwar Sadat, may God shower him with his mercy, took unprecedented steady moves in the history of the region and initiated the historic visit to Jerusalem. Since that moment, Egypt has established a new era, granting proselytes a chance for life and proved that people's security is not only realized by military force. Today, Egypt along with its sisterly Arab and Islamic states, reiterate that peace remains our strategic option. Experience showed over the past decades that this option cannot be founded except through just and equal rights. Based on this, and if the whole regional populations have always been relishing the right to their independent nations, the Palestinian people.
So someone asked, there are 32 flags on the stage. What does it mean? It's just the flag of each country, right? So it's just the flags of the various countries of those who are involved in the peace summit. And the reason that America is at the, I guess that would be the left, is that is the sort of, people would think that the middle is like the best spot, but when it comes to flag etiquette, well, I know this is for Canadian flag etiquette, but let me double check American flag etiquette. Pretty sure it's probably the same. When it comes to flag etiquette, if you want to give like respect to a flag, you put it right at the end. Like you put it at the beginning, basically, right? So that's why you see the American flag right at the end because that's signaling that it's the most important. And then that's the Egyptian flag as well right next to it. So I mean, I'll look into that while I play the video, but I'm pretty sure American flag etiquette is similar to Canadian flag etiquette. So there you go. That's why America is right at the beginning.
Is not an exception. They too have the right to self-determination and to aspire for a future where war doesn't loom over, own the right to enjoy freedom and to live in their independent state, a state that lives side by side with Israel in peace, security, and mutual recognition. Peace is not only crafted by governments, but also built by peoples when they realize that yesterday's rivals could be tomorrow's partners. I avail this opportunity to appeal to the Israeli people. I say, let us turn this historic moment into a new beginning of just and peaceful coexistence prevalent life. Allow us to look forward together to a better future for the sons of our nations. Together, stretch out our hands for our cooperation towards a just and durable peace for the entire regional populations. Excellency President Trump, let us pause at the scenes of overwhelming relief and happiness, whether down the streets in Gaza or in Israel alike, or in the entire world, after reaching the war-ending agreement. Thanks to your wise initiative, it is another evidence to the people's option is peace. We value as well your interest in resuming life in Gaza. Egypt will work with the United States and in coordination with all partners during the forthcoming days to lay down the common grounds for proceeding towards the Strip reconstruction without delay. In this context,
I'm going to move forward to where President Trump speaks because, I mean, let's be honest, the president of Egypt, it's kind of good guy, but it's not relevant. All right. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go back and watch the body language.
Egyptian decorations, it is awarded to heads of states and to those who render great services to humankind. Thank you all. Now I invite the honorable guest to deliver his speech. Excellency President Trump, kindly proceed. The floor is yours.
Right. Did Keir Starmer drop something? What was that? Let's go back and watch that. What happened to Keir Starmer? Did you see him like bend over or something? Did he drop his phone? Wait.
Integration.
Can I zoom in here? No, I can't zoom in.
Among all its states, honorable.
Oh, he has like an interpreter. He has like an interpretation thing.
Attendees, before I conclude my speech, and in appreciation to President Donald Trump's efforts, I would like to declare before the August attendees Egypt's decree to decorate His Excellency.
I mean, you say that Starmer dropped his honor, that he would have to have honor in order to drop it in the first place.
With the Order of the Nile, the highest state honor among Egyptian decorations, it is awarded to heads of states and to those who render great services to humankind. Thank you all.
Okay. He takes down his translation thingy, interpretation thingy.
Now I invite the honorable guest to deliver his speech. Excellency President Trump, kindly proceed. The floor is yours.
Why don't we just put it down? So that's interesting. So Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, he obviously didn't have an interpretation thingy. So either he speaks Arabic, which I highly, doubt, or he just didn't actually care what the president of Egypt was saying. So there you go. Like, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So Mark Carney, no translation, because he just Literally didn't care. So does that then mean that during the whole speech that the president of Egypt was making, every single time Mark Carney was just kind of like nodding along, he was faking it? Like that means he was just like looking at what the other people were doing and just following along as if, yes, I agree. Like what a tool. Like this guy is unfortunately the Prime Minister of Canada. I don't know how the hell he became the Prime Minister of Canada. That's a whole other like, oh my gosh, like just a whole other nightmare. But I mean, he's now like a tool. He's literally a tool. The guy, he no interpretation, right? So he's just standing there for at least like, what's the time here? It's like 8:50, right? So he's standing there for 8 minutes listening to the president of Egypt speak in Arabic, okay? Speak in Arabic with no translation. And then he's nodding along and clapping as if he understands what the hell is going on. The guy's like the biggest fake. I mean, I would have thought that Justin Trudeau was a fake. This guy is an even bigger fake than Justin Trudeau. It's insane. But again, like these are the small things in politics that, like, you know, if you're a politician or you've been a politician, you pick up on, because, you know, we've been trained in all this and we've lived through this and experienced this. But most people haven't, right? So there you go. Yeah, Amir, you're absolutely right. Like Al-Sisi could have basically said in Arabic, you know, Canada sucks and we're going to take over. And Mark Carney would have been like, yeah, right? Like, it's just so stupid. So stupid. And then he's laughing. Like, what is he laughing at? What are you laughing at?
Speech, Excellency President.
Okay, so again, let's pay attention here. So, and this is why Mark Carney is just like looking off and staring off into the distance the entire time that the president of Egypt is speaking, because it's in Arabic and he's literally zoning out. Like he's literally zoning out because he doesn't know what the hell is going on. And then when Keir Starmer like puts down his like translation thingy, they say something to each other and start laughing, and I'm like, what did he say that was so funny? I don't know. I bet you like Carney said something like, it doesn't even matter what they say because they're irrelevant. Ha ha ha. And then, you know, Starmer's like, haha, I don't know, right? But there you go.
President Trump, kindly proceed. The floor is yours.
Watch that interaction again between Starmer and Carney. So he's pointing at that. So he's probably saying, oh, like maybe you can like go drop it off over there. And then Starmer is probably saying, no, like I don't want to leave the stage and lose my spot or whatever. And then he puts it down behind him and then they say something and then they laugh. See, right? So they're laughing. Like, did you see that? Like they laugh because Keir Starmer probably said something like, you know, or I don't know, but Carney's probably laughing because he's like, what the president of Egypt said is irrelevant. We don't care. And then they just laugh at the fact that Carney did not have a translator and has no idea what the president of Egypt was saying. Like that's pretty much the interaction that's happening there.
Well, thank you very much. And that was a great honor. I appreciate it.
So this is where the framing gets interesting. So like I said at the beginning, there's a reason that certain people are standing where they are. And once I guess the framing comes in, you can see like they're right on the edge, right? Like they're right on the edge. And Pakistan and Italy are in the center, which is like the place of honor, right? So that's definitely like a political signal right there.
Very much, Mr. President. Mr. General.
See, like Carney's not even in the frame, right? Like that's how irrelevant Mark Carney and Canada is to the United States, that Mark Carney is not even in the frame. Instead, you have the president of Pakistan in the frame, but not Mark Carney. Like that is President Trump sending a signal to Mark Carney and also to everyone else, right? Because these are the signals that like politicians and their teams pick up on, right? Like this is not by chance. This is 100% done on purpose to have Mark Carney out of the shot here.
Great General, great President. Thank you very much. This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving hoping and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. As you know, the hostages have been returned, and further work goes on having to do with the, sadly to say, bodies. Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East, and it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East, and we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there, and now we're there. I want to congratulate everybody.
I mean, we're there for now. So this is where my skepticism, this is where my skepticism comes in, because as someone who is intimately familiar with the Islamic Republic occupying Iran, those people do not want peace. They want to wage jihad against Israel, against America, against the West. It's one of their core foundational pillars. Like I said, and like I showed you in the video earlier from King Reza Pahlavi, he talks about how jihad is being exported. So this is why you can see in the title of my live stream, I'm saying, like, is this just Islamic terrorists buying time? I think this is just Islamic terrorists buying time in order to recuperate, lick their wounds. And by buying time, like, I think they're probably going to wait until President Trump is out of the office, and they're going to hope for a weaker administration to come in so that they can resume what they have been doing for the last 47 years. But let's continue.
Sitting in these first few rows and standing behind me. I don't know why they chose to stand, but I promise I'll make it short, okay? We are not going to keep you standing for long. These are great leaders. After years of suffering and bloodshed, the war in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food, medical equipment, and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room. Civilians are returning to their homes. The hostages are reuniting. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just watching it backstage. The level of love and sorrow.
And I just want to say, regardless of my skepticism on how long this peace will last, thank God at least the hostages are home, the living hostages. Of course, my understanding is that half of the hostages who were murdered in captivity, they still haven't been released. So I think there's maybe about 20 to 24 hostages. So praying for them. But, at the very least, all living hostages have now returned. And so, I'm definitely grateful to that. And, sending my thoughts and prayers to, everyone in Israel. And I'm really glad that, that part of the horrific nightmare at least is over, and people can sort of start getting back to their lives. So yeah, Amir, you're right. So okay, they only returned for the deceased, and I think there's still about 20 people left. And it's just, this is how the Islamic terrorists play with people, right? Like the deal was release all the hostages, but they're still toying with people's emotions, and it's really sick. But again, this is how Islamic terrorists operate, right? But at the very least, at least the living hostages have returned, and they're free right now.
Oh, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing when you see they haven't seen their mother, their father. They haven't seen them in such a long time, and they lived in a tunnel, a very little tunnel, very deep, and the level of love is just incredible. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's, in one sense, it's so horrible that it could have taken place, but in another sense, it's so beautiful to see a new and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part, because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the Arab and Muslim nations who helped make this incredible breakthrough possible. And you really did. To President El-Sisi of Egypt, who is so generously hosting us today. And I want to thank you for the outstanding job your country is doing in so many different ways, and for helping us so much with this peace agreement. I also want to thank the president for the escort of 6 fighter jets. So we looked out the window, we said, I hope they're friendly, and they turned out to be very friendly. But we had 3 on each side, and they are beauties right out of the great, really American manufacturing hub. We make the greatest military equipment in the world. We have the strongest military in the world by far. And I knew exactly what those planes were, and I knew exactly how much you paid for those planes too. You paid a lot, but you got a pretty good deal. And they are great planes, and we just appreciate it. That was quite an escort in. It was very impressive. But Air Force One was really, it was covered with Egyptian desert just a few months ago. If you think about it, just a few months ago, it was Egyptian desert, and now it was just a few feet off our window. And it was a spectacular sight, and I appreciate it very much. Really, that was pretty good. You got our people by surprise. I don't know if they were thrilled right at the beginning, but they were thrilled as we sailed along very, very calmly and safely. And I'm deeply honored to receive from you, Egypt's highest.
You can always tell when he goes off script, right? So here he's sort of going off script here. I don't mind it because it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into what people are thinking. So I mean, I don't mind the off script part, because sometimes when politicians go off script, the truth comes out, right? Like what they're actually thinking.
State honor, the Order of the Nile. The Nile is so beautiful, so magnificent. It's such a beautiful title, the Order of the Nile. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Great honor. I also want to give a very special thanks to the Emir of Qatar, a man who's outstanding. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, long before politics.
So something that's really interesting is pay attention to the order of thanks that he does. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go grab, I should have, you know what? I'll make a note here. I should have brought like my notebook with me. Keep track of who he thanks in what order, and how long he spends talking about each person. So for him to speak about Qatar next, I have a feeling the reason he's doing that is, the Arab world and the Middle East is all about strength, and it's all about rank, and it's all about hierarchy, right? So I have a feeling the reason that he is thanking Qatar right after Egypt, of course, Egypt, the host country, you always thank the host country first. He brings up Qatar next, probably because I would assume that there were some very difficult conversations behind the scenes with Qatar, given that Qatar was housing Hamas terrorists and giving shelter to Hamas terrorists. So given that there was a lot of difficult conversations, I would assume, those difficult conversations behind the scenes. And, again, Qatar being the bastion of the Muslim Brotherhood, and Qatar being, of course, another terrorist state that is exporting its jihad and whatever, they probably had to give a lot of concessions, right? And Trump was probably very, very tough with them behind the scenes, him and his team. So I think the reason that he is mentioning Qatar right after Egypt, so basically the first to be mentioned after the host country, is to sort of butter them up and maybe make them feel a little bit better about the fact that Qatar is now entering into a peace treaty with Israel, when that is literally the farthest thing from the world Qatar ever wanted to do, right? And I mean, look at Al Jazeera and look at AJ+. Al Jazeera and AJ+ are basically the foreign mouthpiece of the Qataris, and they have been radicalizing young minds in the West for a very long time and continue to do that. So, Qatar is basically, has always been a propaganda mouthpiece for Islamic terrorism. They have always promoted Hamas and supported Hamas. And one of the reasons why a lot of young people in the West think that Hamas are freedom fighters, and it's like a resistance or whatever, is because of Qatar. It's because of the billions they've put into American universities and, through AJ+ and all of this. So I I mean, I don't know again, but I think, I mean, again, I could be wrong, but my take on this is that there were some very tough and difficult conversations behind the scenes. And by Trump mentioning Qatar first after Egypt, this is just his way of, trying to make them feel a little bit better, make them, it's like putting some, like, I don't know, balm on the sore, right? Like they're just trying to make them feel better for being probably like spanked behind the scenes. Just my 2 cents on it. I could be wrong, but that's sort of where I go with my political analysis on this.
Long before politics, and he's a fantastically respected man. His Highness Sheikh Tamim is respected by everybody. He's respected by everybody, and in the most positive way, not only because of power, because of his heart. He's got a tremendous heart, and he's a great leader, and his country loves him. Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor. Let me also express our condolences to the Qataris on the tragic car crash that claimed the lives of your cherished diplomats, some of whom were known by our people, and they were supposed to be incredible people. So please extend our sorrow and best wishes. That was tough. That was really tough. On this extraordinary occasion, I also want to give our sincere thanks to President Erdogan of Turkey. He's always there when
So Turkey is another Muslim Brotherhood country. Interesting for him to mention Turkey. And the reality is that because Erdogan has been incredibly intelligent and smart about how he has been going around with Islamic terrorism in the Middle East, Turkey is now, I would say, one of the emerging powers in the Middle East that's trying to fill in the void left by the Islamic Republic. Like the Islamic Republic is incredibly low IQ. They never they lack the sophistication of terror states like Qatar and Turkey, right? So where terror states like Qatar and Turkey, they will walk the walk and talk the talk when it comes to politics and diplomacy. Like you're never going to see anyone in Qatar or Turkey, like, government officials yell out like death to America. But, behind the scenes, they'll act and behave a certain way. But with the Islamic Republic, because they're so low IQ, very, very like unsophisticated, that has been their mantra. And then all the other terror states look at the Islamic Republic and they're like, what the hell are you guys doing? You guys are being idiots. And the Islamic Republic has basically made themselves the sort of the terror state in the Middle East, and everyone knows that. So interesting that he's mentioning Turkey. Again, I have a feeling that he's mentioning these states because there were probably some difficult conversations behind the scenes. And I have a feeling that Trump thinks that by giving them the honor of mentioning them, in the first few, mentioning them at the beginning, that this might make them more amenable to future negotiations. It might make them more amenable to stop their terrorism. I think this is the tactic that President Trump is taking. I don't think the tactic is going to work because, again, these terrorists and their jihadi ideology, it's not going to change. But I do think that this is where President Trump is going with this. And it's also interesting that, he's mentioning Qatar and Turkey before he would mention what you would think would be America's closest ally, which is Canada, right? I mean, again, Mark Carney is not even in the frame. You see Mark Carney's shoulder there, but, you see the president of Pakistan and, of course, president of Italy, but you don't see Canada, right? So again, this is just, he is signaling how irrelevant and unimportant certain countries are right now. And it's a shame. It's a shame because Canada and America used to be very strong allies. Canada used to be taken seriously on the international stage. And now under the Liberal government, it's just become a joke, right? It's literally become a joke. No one takes Canada seriously. And Canada has just become, a safe haven for Islamists and terrorists. I mean, Hamas literally thanked Canada several times, including most recently for recognizing a Palestinian state, right? Like this is the level of idiocy that we have to deal with in Canada. Anyway, let's continue.
I need him. He's such a tough guy. He is tough as you can be, but we love him. And when they have a problem with you, they always call me to handle it.
So did you see that? So that's exactly what I mean when I say that I'm pretty sure President Trump had some difficult conversations with these people behind the scenes. And the only reason he's mentioning them now, he's mentioning them at the beginning, is because he wants to make them feel less upset about whatever harsh words were said behind the scenes. So, this is why I always appreciate when President Trump goes off script, because when he goes off script, that's where you can really dig into the nitty gritty of what he's saying and the intention behind it. So again, he says, Erdogan, great guy, tough guy. And then he basically says, whenever people have an issue with you, they call me and I put you in your place, right? Like this is political speak for President Trump saying that I own you. And he's saying it out loud to everyone. He's basically saying, I own you. And you listen to me and you do everything I tell you to do. But you're a great guy. We love you. So let's go back and listen to that again. And this is why the off script parts are so important. Okay.
Let me also express our condolences to the Qataris on the tragic car crash that claimed the lives of your cherished diplomats, some of whom were known by our people, and they were supposed to be incredible people. So please extend our sorrow and best wishes. That was tough. That was really tough. On this extraordinary occasion, I also want to give our sincere thanks to President Erdogan of Turkey. He's always there when I need him. He's such a tough guy. He is tough as you can be, but we love him. And when they have a problem with you, they always call me to handle it. And usually I come through. We just have a good relationship, and we have from the beginning.
Did you catch that? Even the way he's looking at him, like, yeah, like, well, it's not cringy. This is not cringy. This is cringy for Turkey. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is cringy for Turkey. This is President Trump putting all of these world leaders in their place. Okay. So I love the fact that he did that, because for those who understand politics, those who have been in politics, that is basically political speech for you listen to everything I say and do, and I'm admitting it to the world, right? So he's basically calling out Erdogan. He's saying, you're a difficult person, you cause drama, that's why I have to get involved. But you know what? You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. Like this is the diplomacy and the business tactics, right? So I find it hilarious. And Erdogan's not even on the stage. He's not even on the stage. He's sitting in the rows there, right? So that's very interesting there, what he's saying about Erdogan.
And so I want to thank you very much and say hello to your wife, your beautiful wife. And it's great to be with you. Always there. When I need him, he's always there. Thank you.
See the way he's even looking at him. He's like basically saying, like, whenever I need him, he's always there. And then he's looking at Erdogan and he's saying, this is what I'm saying, so you better show up and you better not embarrass me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go after you again. Okay, I'm going to play this again without interrupting. But now that you guys get the context, it's so funny.
President Erdogan of Turkey, he's always there when I need him. He's such a tough guy. He is tough as you can be, but we love him. And when they have a problem with you, they always call me to handle it. And usually I come through. We just have a good relationship, and we have from the beginning. And so I want to thank you very much and say hello to your wife, your beautiful wife. And it's great to be with you. Always there. When I need him, he's always there. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I also want to.
Okay, so there was Turkey. Very interesting. Genetic Masterpiece is saying, English guy here is especially happy with how he discreetly put Keir Starmer in his place. Oh my gosh, we are going to get to that. I'm going to break down the way President Trump deals with everyone, and Keir Starmer was one of my favorites. And it gets even funnier when you see the context for what he did before that with another world leader. But we will get to that because that was hilarious. And welcome and thank you for joining. I see a lot of new people who are joining on my YouTube channel. So hi to you all. Welcome. Make sure you follow because I go live daily, Monday to Wednesday, usually around 12 noon. Sorry, Monday to Friday at 12 noon. Okay, let's see which country is next.
I just spoke to him on the phone. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed, Saudi Arabia, special friend of mine. Boy, he's come so long and so far, and he's doing a fantastic job for his country. And I want to just thank him. And His Highness Sheikh Mohammed of the United Arab Emirates is here.
So, okay. So far, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, UAE, still no mention of Canada, France, or the UK.
Where? He's here someplace. Well, he's not here, but he's here in spirit. I can tell you that. And he's been another one. He's been absolutely incredible, and we appreciate it very much. And His Majesty King Abdullah of Jordan. And
okay, so Jordan.
Thank you very much, King Abdul of Jordan. He's here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So the King of Jordan would not be up on stage with the politicians because that would be considered sort of like, I don't know, like it would kind of be like beneath him, right? Like, so I don't know, there might be like a Jordanian representative on stage. I don't know if there's a Jordanian representative on stage, but it makes sense that the King of Jordan would be sort of sitting in the front row watching it, right? All right.
Thank you very much. And you really have been a great help.
Sorry, Delta, you asked a really good question. Let me put it up here. So Delta asks, do you think it's specifically because they recognize Palestine and he's punishing them? 100%. Like he's like, when the UK, France, and Canada just unilaterally recognized Palestine without Hamas meeting any of the conditions, they thought that they were doing something. They thought that they were relevant. They thought that they were like global powers, but they're not. I mean, let's be honest. There's a reason that America is the global power in the world. And so President Trump is basically putting them in their place and saying, you guys are clowns, you guys are irrelevant, and you guys went against our ally, even though those Western countries you would think would also be allies of Israel because Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. But President Trump has said before, he's warned that these countries like France and the UK and Canada, are basically importing a lot of like Islamists into their countries. And President Trump's not an idiot. He recognizes that these politicians are basically catering to the jihadi vote in their own countries. And President Trump wants nothing to do with that. So 100%, like he is putting them in their place for unilaterally recognizing Palestine, even though it's like a totally meaningless gesture, right? Like Palestine is not a country. I don't even know what Palestine is, right? Like what are the borders? What's the currency? It's all just, Narnia is more real than Palestine at this point. But anyway, let's continue. So he mentions the King of Jordan. So again, he's, Egypt is the host country. So Egypt is first. And then he mentions Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and now Jordan. Still no mention of Canada, which is supposed to be the United States' #1 ally, right? And again, Canada is not even in the shot. All you see is Mark Carney's shoulder there.
Appreciate it. Prime Minister Sharif of Pakistan, and also I have.
President Trump recognized Pakistan before Canada.
to say my favorite field marshal from Pakistan, who's not here, but the Prime Minister is here, and you're going to give his regards. Where are you? There you go. Thank you very much. Do you want to say what you said to me the other day? Come, would you like to say what you said the other day? I think it's...
So this is the context that makes how Trump treats Keir Starmer even funnier. Because when you realize that President Trump invites the president of Pakistan to come to the podium and say a few words, it makes what he did to Keir Starmer even funnier, because Keir Starmer probably assumed that he was going to come up and speak as well, and then of course he didn't. So that's why, like, it's hilarious the way that he just humiliates Keir Starmer and of course Mark Carney and Macron, right?
It was so nice. Please.
Thank you very much, my dear President Trump, my dear brother, President.
And obviously this was planned, right? This was planned because when the president of Pakistan goes up, obviously his staffer walks up and puts, the president of Pakistan's speech in front of him, right? So, staffers don't necessarily, like politicians don't have just speeches randomly prepared like that, right? Especially not for a big event like that. So obviously, the president of Pakistan knew that he was going to speak, and then his staffer, his team, created or prepared a speech for him so that he could read.
Thank you very much.
You'll see the guy coming like his speech in front of him.
Would you like to say what you said the other day? I think it was so nice.
So see, I love that look. Okay, so I have given that look to people who've worked with me, like my staffers before. I'm telling you, like, we communicate with our eyes. So that look, he's basically saying to his staffer, like, please bring my notes. He's like, please bring my notes. And like, I've done that too, right? So that look, it's not like a mean look. It's not like a glare or anything. It's just literally like communicating, right? And it's interesting because at some point, when you have a team and you have a really good relationship with your team. So like me, my executive assistant, her and I were really close. We worked together for like 6 years. So she, it had come to the point where, we could communicate with our eyes and we could literally have full-on conversations just with our eyes. So I find that really interesting.
Thank you very much.
He gives the guy like a look, and he's basically like, where's my speech? Bring my speech. And then the guy comes with his speech.
The other day, and come, would you like to say what you said the other day? I think it was so nice.
There you go. He looks, he's like, where's my speech?
Thank you very much, my dear
There's a speech.
President Trump, my dear brother, President Fatil Sisi of Egypt, Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum.
So this is interesting. So when President Trump was speaking, the angle, okay, it was zoomed in, right? So the frame was zoomed in, and you only saw like Macron on this side, and then up to Keir Starmer, right? Only up to Keir Starmer. Now, this is still within the frame, right? So they could have, because this was broadcast on the White House, and I guarantee you, like, this was it was just like one person streaming, or like, one video camera streaming. And this is from the official White House channel, right? So this is President Trump's communication team determining the frame, determining the angles, determining who's going to be in what shot. So when the president of Pakistan is speaking, they could have very easily kept the frame to...
And a very good evening.
Sorry, they could have kept the frame to just what it was before, where, it's Macron here, and then, Mark Carney's shoulder up on this side, and then President Trump would have still been in the frame, right? So it's not like President Trump wouldn't be visible. But I have a feeling the reason that they zoomed it out is to send a message that, again, look, the president of Pakistan is speaking, and President Trump is right beside him. And yet, people like Macron and Starmer and Carney and Gutierrez and others are just standing around while the president of Pakistan is speaking. So again, that is sending a message and a signal to Carney and Starmer and Macron. And I think in a way, that wide angle is also humiliating for them, right? Because again, they're like standing like little girls in the back while the president of Pakistan is speaking, and then they never get an opportunity to speak, I don't think. So there you go. So I think that's why they did a zoom out of the shot, is to make sure maximum humiliation for Macron, Starmer, and of course Carney, and of course Gutierrez as well, because we all know the United Nations is completely useless. So there you go. My 2 cents. Again, I could be wrong, but these are just sort of my thoughts on why it's happening the way it is. And I appreciate, I hope you guys are enjoying my nuances, right? Like these, if you ever want to know what like politicians talk about, it's these sorts of things. Like we will watch these things. It's like our nerdy, drama gossip, which I'm now sharing with you because I'm gossiping with you guys about this stuff.
Well, I would say today is one of the greatest day in contemporary history, because peace has been achieved after untiring efforts led by President Trump.
Sorry, so Steve says here he did put Pakistan on the spot. He was like, "What, me? I disagree." Pakistan knew they were going to speak because, as you see, like when he came up, his staffer came and put his speech in front of him. So I think the what me was probably the president of Pakistan just like, oh, no, that's okay. Oh, no, I don't want to repeat it. But then as soon as Trump's like, no, I insist, he's like, okay. And then his staffer comes and puts his speech in front of him, right? So let me go that. Anyways, we'll just continue on.
Who is genuinely a man of peace, who has relentlessly and untiringly worked throughout these months, day in and day out, to make this world a place to live with peace and prosperity. I would say that Pakistan had nominated President Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize for his outstanding, extraordinary contributions to first stop war between India and Pakistan, and then achieve ceasefire along with his very wonderful team. And today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize, because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for Peace Prize, because he has brought not only peace in South Asia, saved millions of people, their lives. And today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, achieving peace in Gaza is saving millions of lives in the Middle East. Mr. President, I would like to salute you for your exemplary leadership, visionary leadership. And I think that you are the man this world needed most at this point in time. World would always remember you as a man who did everything, went out of the way to stop 7 and today 8 wars. I would like to thank my very dear brother, Sheikh Tamim. He's Akh al-Shakik, who has really worked very hard along with others to achieve peace in this region. My very dear brother, President Tayyip Erdogan, His Majesty, King Abdullah, and of course, my very dear brother, Mohammed bin Zayed of UAE, and of course, my very dear brother, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And he has also been very, very helpful and contributed very valuably in this wonderful peace process. Ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't want to take more of your time. Suffice it to say, had it not been for this gentleman, not only, who knows, India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers. Had he not intervened along with his wonderful team, during those 4 days, the war could have escalated to a level. Who would have lived to tell what happened? And similarly, here in this part of the world, in Middle East, Mr. President, your valuable contribution along with President Sisi, I think history will remember in golden words. I wouldn't say more, except God bless you, God give you long life to serve like this for all time to come. Thank you very much.
So beautiful. Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you very much.
Do you see how like Mark Carney is kind of like looking off to the side as if like he's bored and he's better than all of this? Just look at like his haughty like posture. Like he looks so bored. And he looks like he doesn't care. Like he's just so tuned out of this, right? Like he's probably standing there feeling so awkward that he unilaterally recognized the state of Palestine, thinking it was going to be like this grand gesture, thinking that like, I don't know, maybe he would get the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know. But instead, now he's standing back there, in line, like, one of Trump's groupies, basically, right? It's just, yeah. Just look at, like, he's like looking off to the side, like he's just super
Wow, I didn't
tuned out.
expect that. Let's go home. There's nothing more I have to say. Goodbye, everybody. That was really beautiful and beautifully delivered. Wow. Thank you very much. Also with us is President Prabowo, a very incredible man, of Indonesia.
Okay, so again, I'm making a list of the countries that President Trump is announcing, right? So let me write Indonesia. Okay, because again, where is it? Indonesia. Okay, because again, the order of naming the countries, it matters in politics, right? Like you name like the most important or most relevant countries, or your closest allies, like there's different reasons for naming various countries, but typically, like, the ones in the beginning are the most important. So here we go. President Trump starts off with Egypt, which makes sense because Egypt is the host country, right? So you want to thank Egypt. And then here are the other countries he lists. So then he goes Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Jordan, Pakistan, and now Indonesia. And he still has not named Canada or the UK or France. Keep that in mind, okay? Like this is like literally right now, Indonesia is more relevant to achieving peace in the Middle East than Canada, the UK, or France. Keep that in mind.
President, come on.
And look, he goes, and so even though the president of Indonesia is standing off to the side and he's not in the frame, this is really important, right? Like President Trump calls him over and he shakes his hand in front of everyone. Like obviously not everyone can be right in the front and center and whatever, but for him to do that, that's a big sign of respect. And in political speak, that's huge, right? Like he's basically saying, come from where you're standing, come here, I want to shake your hand. And also President Trump walks to him. You're right, Steve. They kind of meet in the middle, right? So that's important. That's important as well. So he's shaking his hand.
Great job.
And you know what? Keep in mind when he mentioned Qatar and Turkey, he didn't shake their hands, right? Like Erdogan is sitting, I think somewhere in the front row there, and he kind of like made the look to Erdogan, and he's like, I'm keeping an eye on you, but he didn't, say, come up, I want to shake your hand type of thing. But with Indonesia, he did, and of course with Pakistan, Pakistan came up and spoke, and of course, my understanding is like, Saudi Arabia and UAE aren't there in the room; they're not present, and of course, the King of Jordan is sitting in the front row.
President Abbas of the Palestinian Authority. See, we have them all. We have them.
So again, he lists Abbas Mahmoud. Now, I have my own opinions on Abbas Mahmoud and the PLO, but the fact that he names President Abbas Mahmoud and the PLO again before the UK, France, and Canada. Like, we're still waiting. Like, where's Canada here, right? Like, isn't Canada supposed to be the United States' biggest ally? Oh, right? Kind of awkward here. So there you go.
Good, great. It's good to have you. And so many others. I really have a list here. This first three rows and what's standing behind.
I love how he says, and so many others are here. And then he pulls out a piece of paper as if like, he has to remember about the so many others, which include Canada, Canada, France, and the UK. And of course the UN, right? Like basically a bunch of like lefty lackeys there.
And I don't know why they chose to stand, but that's there. They're going to be very famous tomorrow, all of them.
Sorry, I was wrong. Not PLO, PA, the Palestinian Authority. The PLO is a terrorist group. PA is a terrorist group as well. But anyway, like we're not going to get into that. But PLO was Yasser Arafat. I meant the PA.
We have the Arab League is represented by His Excellency, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much.
For the Arab League,
we have Armenia. Oh,
Armenia is recognized. Oh, okay. I wonder if he's gonna now go in like alphabetical order. Let's see. So he went Arab League, Armenia,
and Azerbaijan. That's a little war that we stopped. That's a little war. There they are. Look at them. They're sitting. When I met with them, it was in the Oval Office. They fought for like 31 years or some crazy number. And they had one sitting on that side of the Oval Office, one sitting. By the time we finished in 1 hour, they were both hugging each other. And now they're friends and they're getting along great. Look at it. So I want to thank you both. That's incredible. Really incredible. So you have Armenia and you have Bahrain. You have Canada.
Oh, finally. So this is actually very bad because like, he could have included Canada, the UK, and France in the beginning where he kind of does like these special shout outs, right? But instead he has them in his list. And what's interesting is that when he gets, it's like, oh, Canada, as if like, oh, I completely forgot about Canada. I forgot that they're here. And Canada is like a complete afterthought, right? So this gives a lot of input and insight into the relationship between Canada and the United States. Like Trump is sending a message. This is not done by accident. This is done on purpose. President Trump is sending a clear message to these countries that your allyship isn't worth the paper it's written on, right? Because these countries have gone rogue. They are catering to the Islamists within their respective borders, which is why they unilaterally recognized the state of Palestine, right? And Trump is calling them out. He's saying, I think you guys are idiots and you have become completely irrelevant on the world stage. Like these countries have basically been relegated to an afterthought on a list, right? So no shout out to them. No, I'm pretty sure he's not going to shake Carney's hand. I mean, he might. I don't know. I can't remember. But let's see if he shakes Carney's hand. So remember, when he mentioned the president of Indonesia, he called him over and shook his hand. Let's see what he does with Canada.
They're friends and they're getting along great. Look at
What he
this.
does with Canada.
So I want to thank you both. That's incredible. Really incredible.
Man, Carney like totally tuned out.
So you have Armenia and you have Bahrain, you have Canada. It's so great to have, in fact, the president called and he wanted to know if it's worthwhile. He knew exactly what it was. He knew the importance.
Did you catch that? So he said president, like that part is hilarious, irrelevant, but he said he's basically saying Mark Carney called and wanted to know if it's worthwhile for him to show up. And he stopped mid-sentence, right? But that's basically what he's saying. He called and wanted to know if it's worth what, and then he stopped and he went on. So let's go back and listen to that. And look, when he mentions Canada, he doesn't even turn around to make eye contact with Mark Carney. Right? He doesn't even bother to turn around and be like, oh yeah, Canada, right? He like totally doesn't do it. Oh my gosh, this is wild.
So you have Armenia and you have Bahrain, you have Canada. It's so great to have, in fact, the president called and he wanted to know if it's worthwhile. He knew exactly what it was. He knew the importance. Where's Canada, by the way? Where are you? Where are you? He knew the importance of this. He said, I want to be there. So many people have done that. They called. I mean, they heard about it. And these are not people that can do that very easily. They have pretty big schedules, to put it mildly. The most powerful people. And I appreciate you being here very much, Mr. President. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh my God. He didn't shake his hand. Did you guys see that? Like, he's right there. I'm telling you guys, Trump did that on purpose. He is calling out Canada. That is so embarrassing. Like, how humiliated is Mark Carney at that point where Trump's like, where's Canada? Oh yeah, they wanted to know if we should come to the party, right? Is it worthwhile to come, right? I guarantee you probably what happened is like, you know, after Mark Carney just like unilaterally recognized the state of Palestine, right? And like basically, and then Hamas thanked them. Carney was like, oh shit, did we like, you know, we did the wrong thing because the United States isn't doing that. And then Trump basically humiliated Carney on the world stage by saying, you know, oh, it's nice that you called to see if you can come. And by the way, doesn't shake his hand. Do you see that? So remember, wait, let's go back to Indonesia. Okay. Look, so when he's doing a shout out to Indonesia, where is it? So, okay, let me just remember the time here, 23:27. So look at the difference in body language and tone when he is thanking Indonesia, the president of Indonesia, versus Canada. Like, this tells you everything about the current relationship between Canada and the United States. Like this behavior is not by accident here, guys.
Also with us is President Prabowo, a very incredible man of Indonesia. President, come on.
He knows exactly where the president of Indonesia is standing. Shakes his hand, right? He knows, guys, Trump knows exactly where each politician is standing. Like his staff, like, you know, did it all, and probably with Trump's final approval, right? Like Trump is the kind of person who's very meticulous about these sorts of details. So the placement of where people are standing would have been, you know, reviewed and approved by Trump. And as you can tell, when he mentioned Indonesia, he knew exactly where Indonesia was, where the president of Indonesia was standing. So for him to pretend like he doesn't know where Canada is standing, like, again, it's just one one humiliation after another for Mark Carney. So let's go back and now compare Indonesia to Canada. Like he barely acknowledges Canada. And, he could have easily shook Mark Carney's hand. Like Mark Carney's right there. Like he could have just reached out, and shook his hand, and he did not. He did not shake his hand.
They're friends and they're getting along great. Look at it. So I want to thank you both. That's incredible. Really incredible.
All right.
So you have Armenia and you have Bahrain. You have Canada. It's so great to have, in fact, the president called and he wanted to know if it's worthwhile. He knew exactly what it was. He knew the importance. Where's Canada, by the way? Where are you?
Look at Mark. He's like, I'm here. I'm here. Look, did you see that? He's like, where's Canada? And then Mark's like, I'm here. Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
To know if it's worthwhile. He knew exactly what it was. He knew the importance. Where's Canada, by the way? Where are you?
I'm here.
Where are you?
He's like, I'm
He
here.
knew the importance of this. He said, I want to be there. So many people have done that. They called. I mean,
He's basically admitting that Mark Carney called him and said, I want to be at the peace summit, right? The only reason Mark Carney would call him and say, I want to be at the peace summit is because he actually had nothing to do with the peace agreement, but he just wanted to be there to be a part of it, right? Because if he was already a part of, let's say, the peace agreement in the Middle East, he wouldn't feel the need to call Trump and say, can I join your party? Because he would have already been a part of it. But there he's like, I'm here. Canada's here. Like, God, what an embarrassment. Like, what an embarrassment to Canada.
they heard about it. And these are not people that can do that very easily. They have pretty big schedules, to put it mildly. The most powerful people. And I appreciate you being here very much, Mr. President. Fantastic.
No handshake.
Fantastic. And Cyprus, Egypt.
And then you can see, like, Mark Carney kind of looks around like he's a little, like, taken aback. And again, it's not by accident that his face is sort of blocked by the teleprompter here. Same with, like, Macron as well. So, I mean, like, this is not by accident, guys. Like, the placement and the framing, 100%. Like, they could have put someone tall there, or they could have put someone short there, or they could have put someone, like, irrelevant there. But look at that. Like, even in this frame, even when President Trump is calling out Canada, like, Mark Carney's face is, like, obscured, right? So, and then let's go back and look at Mark Carney's reaction. So it's just his body language is hilarious. Like, he's just he's like in shock at how he was treated, because it's almost like he kind of leans forward thinking like President Trump's going to want to shake his hand. No, President's just like, great to see you. It's fabulous. It's fabulous having you here with us.
Schedules, to put it mildly. The most powerful people. And I appreciate you being here very much, Mr. President. Fantastic. Fantastic. And Cyprus.
And Steve, you're right. He's absolutely calling them out, right? Like, he's absolutely calling out these people, putting them in their place and basically humiliating. And look here, you can see like Mark Carney is literally looking to the side, completely incredulous and completely like just shocked. He doesn't know how to react to the fact that President Trump just publicly humiliated him on stage. Because again, when it comes to Indonesia, President Trump knew exactly where Indonesia was. Indonesia got a special shout out, and even called Indonesia over to shake his hand. But with Carney, it's just like, fantastic, you're here. Where's Canada? Oh yeah, there you are. Great to see you. Nice that you wanted to join our party. It's just total humiliation. So, like, this is like all the political stuff that those of us who've been in politics, like, these are the nuances that we pick up on. So I actually do really enjoy watching these sorts of things, because you can pick up a lot on what politicians say, because of course, and myself included, when I've been in these sorts of announcements, you basically have to be very stoic, right? Like, you're very stoic, no expression, no nothing. You're just supposed to be very like a statue, essentially. So the tiniest gesture actually means a lot, right? Like, this is not like a normal place, right? So everyone has to be very calm, very stoic, like no expression, nothing. So again, tiniest gesture means it's a big deal. And then for Carney to literally be like staring at someone, staring at his staff or whatever, he's basically looking at his staff and he's like, what the F just happened? Did he just humiliate me in front of the entire world? Well, Mark Carney, the answer is yes. Maybe you should stop bowing to the jihadis in Canada. Maybe you should stop catering to, I don't know, the Muslim jihadis who call death for Israel. And by the way, Mark, maybe you should stop saying that Muslim values are Canadian values, because a lot of us don't necessarily agree with that. So just stop simping for, those groups and organizations that are connected to the Muslim Brotherhood, because it's not a good look. And this is what happens. President Trump calls you out, right?
Egypt.
And then he's kind of laughing because
The European Union, it's a lot of countries. France.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I would imagine Emmanuel standing someplace behind me.
Okay, so he does the same thing to France, right? He does the exact same thing to, oh my gosh, let's go back and watch that. He does the exact same thing to France. He's like, where's France? Where's Emmanuel? Right? And then he just kind of looks behind. And he doesn't even say like the prime minister or whatever. He just says Emmanuel, right? Whereas with like, again, like the president of Indonesia, he calls him by the formality, calls him over, shakes his hand. Let's see how he treats France. This is so funny.
Cyprus, Egypt, the European Union, it's a lot of countries. France, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I would imagine Emmanuel standing someplace behind me. Where is he? I can't believe it. You're taking a low-key approach today.
Oh, so maybe that isn't France then. Okay, so we were wrong. Okay, so that's not even Emmanuel Macron. I thought that was Emmanuel Macron. See, this is how irrelevant the guy is. I don't even know what he looks like. I just assumed that this guy here would be Emmanuel Macron, because you would think that France would be on the stage. No, France isn't even on the stage. And then, these like look at like these two idiots, like, Dumb and Dumber, right? Have you guys seen the movie Dumb and Dumber? Keir Starmer and Mark Carney remind me of Dumb and Dumber. They're just laughing. I don't even know if they understand what they're laughing at. I mean, are they laughing at the fact that Emmanuel Macron isn't on the stage? Jeez, I don't know, man. And isn't France like undergoing an election or something? Wasn't there like a vote of non-confidence in France or something recently? I don't know. I have to look into that. But yeah, this is like, this behavior right here reminds me of like, I don't know, two nerdy kids who are just trying to fit in with the cool crowd, right? And it's just, they just look like fools.
He's my friend. That's great. Good job. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Germany, the new chancellor of Germany he's easy to spot because he's very tall and he's very smart and he's doing a fantastic job for his country. Appreciate it very much. And congratulations, a big election. That was a big one. That was going to change things. Greece, we have Greece. We have Hungary. Oh, Victor, where is Victor? Victor. We love Victor. Victor, I call him. I put the little accent on it. You are fantastic, all right? I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but I'm the only one that matters. You are fantastic. He's a great leader. I endorsed him the last election he had, and he won by 28 points. So you're going to do even better this time. You have another election, and you're going to do great, and we appreciate it, and we're behind you 100%. That's Hungary. India is a great country with a very good friend of mine at the top, and he's just done a fantastic job. And I think that Pakistan and India are going to live very nicely together, right? That's not a very, they are.
Because that's not awkward, right? But he's basically looking at the president of Pakistan. He's like, no more wars, like no more nuclear threats, please. Like, we're not going to tolerate that, right?
They are. And they're two great, I'd say, leaders, great leaders, as far as I'm concerned. Indonesia, we covered, and I just want to say that that's a big country, a powerful country. It does unbelievably well, and it's great to have you. Iraq, we have Iraq. with lots of oil. They have so much oil, they don't know what to do with it. That's a big problem when you have so much, you have no idea what to do with it. So thank you very much.
What is Mark Carney laughing at? Can someone explain to me, or does anyone know, like, what the hell is Mark Carney laughing at? Because I don't know if what President Trump said was funny. So it's like, why is he laughing? Like, is he just still embarrassed by how President Trump treated him internationally? I mean, that could be it. Like, it could be like a nervous laughter or something, but it's like, what is he laughing at? Because it looks kind of psychopathic to me, right? Again, like, look at the others. Like, they're showing a little bit of emotion here and there. But like, I don't know what the hell Mark Carney is laughing at here.
They have so much oil, they don't know what to do with it. That's a big problem when you have so much, you have no idea.
Whoa, did you see that? So when President Trump says Iraq has so much oil, we don't know what to do with it, and then Carney kind of like looks down, looks up, and then he raises his eyebrows, right? So again, he is communicating to his staff. Again, this is how politicians communicate. So he's clearly having some sort of like conversation with his staffer, right? About something, probably about the fact that President Trump just like totally stumped him and embarrassed him internationally. And he's still having the conversation. And it just looks awkward. It looks awkward. Like President Trump is speaking and you are having a full-on conversation with your staff. Again, as someone who was in politics for 7 years, when you get that really, really good staffer, like I was very close with my executive assistant, we would basically have like conversations with our eyes and our eyebrows and things like that, right? But you still keep it at a minimum, right? Like you don't do what Carney's doing here. Like, what the hell is he laughing at? I don't know. This is just, to me, it's very disrespectful. I don't know.
Big problem when you have so much, you have
Did
no
you
idea
see
what to
eyebrow
do.
raise? Let's just go back.
They
Like,
have so much oil, they
Carney?
don't know what to do with it. That's a big problem when you have so much, you have
Little
no
eyebrow
idea what to
raise.
do with it. So thank you very
It's
much.
kind of creepy.
Thank you very much. Italy, we have a young woman who's, I'm not allowed to say it because usually it's the end of your political career if you say it. She's a beautiful young woman. Now, if you use the word beautiful in the United States about a woman, that's the end of your political career, but I'll take my chances. Where is she? There she is. You don't mind being called beautiful, right? Because you are. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. She wanted to be here and she's incredible and they really respect her in Italy. She's a very successful politician.
Notice how he didn't say that about, I don't know, Macron or about Mark Carney. He didn't say that they're well respected. He didn't say that they're liked. He didn't say that they're great politicians. When he mentions, that like Italy wanted to, I love Meloni, by the way. I love Meloni. But, when he's speaking about Meloni and he says, she wanted to be here, he frames it in the context of she is a powerful, fantastic politician, well respected by her people. And it's great to have her with us. It's great to have such a well-respected politician with us. But when it comes to like Carney and Macron, he's just like, okay, well, great to have you here, right? Thanks for wanting to be part of the party, right? There you go. Like, it's just the difference in how he reacts and responds and speaks to each politician is incredibly like obvious. And well, I mean, to me anyway, maybe not to many of you, but that's why we're breaking it down here, and I'm breaking it down for you. Guys, I hope you're appreciating. I hope you're enjoying this actually, because if you like, I'm more than happy to kind of like do more of this where I break it down and give you sort of the political nuances here. I don't know. I find this interesting. I find this fun. But there you go. And just the order of calling out is very interesting.
We have Norway. Oh, Norway. Norway. What happened, Norway? What happened?
Woo! What did Norway do? Did I miss on what Norway did? That, like, okay, so for him to be like, ooh, Norway, like that's like the equivalent. So that's basically like political speak for what the F, right? Like he's basically saying Norway, what, like he's that's a huge call out. Is he just talking shit? I don't know. Oh, okay, Roch. Okay, so here we go. So this is what happened. So Roch is saying, he's saying he lives in Norway. They recognize Palestine. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. So Trump is basically saying to Norway, what the heck, right? Oh, and for the Greenland thing, okay. Okay. Interesting. Very okay. Norway recognized Palestine. Okay, yeah. So you know what? So it's very interesting. So Trump is definitely he is definitely calling out those countries that unilaterally recognized Palestine, because that's obviously in direct contradiction to current U.S. foreign policy. And of course, by doing so, they basically supported terrorism and told Hamas to keep on doing what they're doing. So it's interesting to see how he is calling out the countries that are supporting Islamic terrorism. But that's not insignificant for him to just like literally call out Norway on the world stage, right? Like that, like that's so awkward.
She's a very successful politician. We have Norway.
Wait, as opposed to recognizing Qatar, what are you talking about? I already spoke about Qatar. President Trump spoke about Qatar earlier, and we went over that. So, I mean, if you're new to the stream, that's fine. But if you go back and watch the beginning of my live stream, we already went over Qatar, and I spoke about how Qatar is a terrorist state, and I gave my analysis on that. So, I mean, you're welcome to, when the stream is done, go back, and I go over all the countries. So there you go.
Hey, Norway. Norway. What happened, Norway? What happened? Where's Norway? Where is he? We have Johnny. We're going to the World Cup. I can tell you that. Where's Norway? I don't think he wants to stand. Oh, he's back there.
Oh, shit.
Well, we have Norway. Oman.
Can we watch that again? Can we watch that again? How he just like he calls out Norway. It's almost like he's a parent and he's like scolding a child. He's like, Norway. Oh my gosh, like so funny.
Where's he?
Okay.
We have Johnny. We're
Okay,
going to the
go
World
back.
Cup.
I need to see this Norway again because this is just.
She's incredible, and they really respect her in Italy. She's a very successful politician. We have Norway. 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 What happened, Norway? What happened? Where's Norway? Where is he? We have Johnny.
Oh,
we're going to the World Cup. I can tell you that. Where's Norway?
He's like,
I don't think he wants to stand. Oh, he's back there. Well, we have Norway. Oman. Again, we have Paraguay. We have really fantastic representative from Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, and this time we'll get you the best seat. He always gets the best seat. He deserves the best seat. But what a great place it is. Spain. Where's Spain? Are you guys working on him with respect to the GDP? We'll get close. We'll get close. But fantastic job you're doing.
Are you guys working on Spain? Oh my gosh. He's just calling people out here. He's literally calling countries out. Like this is like prime time, like, you know, political drama. Like this is hilarious.
And UAE, which is great. United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's my friend? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice. And
guys. Oh my gosh. So he calls up. He calls up the Prime Minister of the UK, shakes his hand, and then he pretends like he's gonna give him the podium. And of course, what makes it really funny is that earlier he called up the he called up the president of Pakistan, and then the president of Pakistan spoke, right? So Trump does the exact same gesture with Keir Starmer. And then Keir Starmer, he gets all excited. He's like, oh, you know what? I guarantee you what's going through his head. He's probably thinking, oh, I'm standing next to Pakistan, so maybe the reason I'm standing next to Pakistan so close to the podium is I'm going to speak as well. And then you can see here Carney's like laughing. Okay.
I think it's fantastic.
And then, even like Maloney, like she is trying so hard to keep a straight face right now. Like that is her literally like pursing her lips, trying not to laugh. I know, because I have been there in that situation before where something like ridiculous happens. And then look at her eyes. You can tell she's laughing. We need to watch this again several times because it is hilarious. And here's the thing. You would think that President Trump would know where Keir Starmer is because he's literally at this point in the press conference, he has literally turned around and looked behind him over a dozen times, right? He looked around, he looked behind him when he called the president of Pakistan to come up and speak. Of course, just literally like seconds ago when he called out, when he mentioned Maloney, of course, Mark Carney before that, and then, this guy here. So he knows exactly where Keir Starmer is. It's not like he doesn't know. And he totally played him. This is so funny. Okay, let's watch this again. And then I want to go back and I want to watch when President Trump brings up the president of Pakistan, and then we'll compare it because it's just so funny.
Are you guys working on him with respect to the GDP? We'll get close. But fantastic job.
By the way, Mark Carney looks like Mr. Burns. Does he not look like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons? Like, he's just the awkward, I don't know. It's nothing says right. And then he just keeps on laughing at President Trump's, comments as if he's trying to pretend like he's part of the cool crowd or whatever.
Job you're doing. And UAE, which is great.
By the way, holding a conversation, so incredibly rude, right? So incredibly rude and disrespectful to the person that's speaking. This is a big political no-no, right? You do not do that, especially if you're within the frame, right? That just goes to show how arrogant these two people are for literally having a full-on conversation while President Trump is speaking. Very, very disrespectful. You don't do that, right? I mean, I would say if it's an emergency or something and you have to tell the other person something, I don't know, your fly is open or, something like that, a one sentence thing, fine, go ahead. But having a full-on conversation like these two clowns are doing here, I'm going to call them Dumb and Dumber. So, this full-on conversation, you're right. Mark Carney started it, but Keir Starmer didn't have to respond, right? But then the conversation continues. So let's look at this again, Dumb and Dumber over here, Dumb and Dumber having a conversation while President Trump is speaking, incredibly disrespectful.
We'll get close. But fantastic job you're doing. And UAE, which is great. United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's
So, okay, to be fair, Keir Starmer does not respond. He does not talk. He has this awkward laugh, right? So as Mark Carney is speaking with him, he has like this awkward laugh and like he's kind of like, okay, like acknowledging what Mark Carney is saying. He doesn't respond, but I mean, as soon as Mark Carney said like one or two words, he just been like whatever, and then look back at President Trump. But the fact that he is enabling Mark Carney to continue the conversation, again, just literally Dumb and Dumber. And then it's really funny because while they're having the conversation, that's when President Trump mentions, UK, and then of course, then Keir's like, here I am, right? By the way, if there are any like lip readers out there, I would be very curious to know what Mark Carney is actually saying. I would be very interested to know what was so important that Mark Carney felt the need to communicate it to Keir Starmer while President Trump is speaking on the international stage, right? So there you go. Let's go back here. I might make a post about it and see if like I can find someone on X or something, because I'm dying to know what is so important that Mark Carney he was saying he's hungry. What time is dinner? Could you imagine? Yeah, Riza, a bad lip reading would also be funny. Again, I'm not a good lip reader, but Amir, you're absolutely right. I would be very curious to know what's more important. What's more important than a peace summit for Mark Carney to feel the need to have a full-on conversation with Keir Starmer while President Trump is speaking. So let's go back. Okay, now we're gonna get to the UK, and we're gonna rewatch how. Again, I get so distracted because there's so many like tiny things here. But we're gonna go back to the UK. We're gonna rewatch how President Trump completely humiliates Keir Starmer, like even worse than Carney, I would say, right? Like even worse than Carney.
I can tell you that. Where's Norway? I don't think he wants to stand. Oh, he's back there.
Oh, we got to Norway again.
Yeah, we have Norway.
Okay.
Oman, again, we have Paraguay. We have really fantastic representative from Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, and this time we'll get you the best seat. He always gets the best seat. He deserves the best seat. But what a great place it is. Spain. Where's Spain? Are you guys working on him with respect to the GDP? We'll get close. We'll get close. But fantastic job you're doing. And UAE, which is great. United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's my friend? Where? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice of you here. These people all came and like.
Look at his
20
face. Look at his face. Look at his face. He basically brings him up. So he doesn't shake Mark Carney's hand, which is, whatever. That's like hilarious in and of itself, like just as bad as very bad. Let's go back and look at Keir Starmer's face. Okay. I wonder if can I watch this in slow, playback speed. Here we go. Okay. Let's put this in slow motion here. So.
Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice of you.
He's like, it's very nice of you to be here. So here, Keir Starmer, right? He's coming close to the mic, thinking he's going to speak.
These people.
And then he's like, very nice of you to be here. And then he's like, these people, it's so great for these people. And then just let's look at this like frame by frame. And then
Came.
look at his face. Like he looks at the front. Like this is where the moment of realization steps in that no, he's not going to be speaking. And President Trump essentially dismissed him, right? Like just look at his face. Look at his face. He's like, oh no. He's like so close yet so far away. Like he was getting ready, as if he was like, okay, this is going to be my time to shine. This is going to be my moment to like speak, right? The president of Pakistan spoke, so I'm going to speak as well, right? And then he's just like, no. And President Trump just like blocks him, right? Like does not even allow. Like look at his face. Like President Trump he's like, all right, great for you to be here. Go to the back.
20.
And then he's just like, kind of then he puts his head down because he's embarrassed as well, right? Look at this. So let's watch this again in slow motion, because slow motion is even funnier.
And UAE.
So here, Mark Carney having
which is great. United Kingdom.
He's like, oh, that's me.
Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Where? Come there. Is everything going good? Very good. It's very nice of you here.
So he's like, is everything going good? And Starmer's like, very good. And then President Trump's like, it's very nice that you're here. And then he just like totally ignores him.
These people all came and like
look at his face.
20-minute notice.
Oh my God.
And
that's okay. One more time, and then we'll continue. Because that's just so funny.
Great. United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Where? Come there. Is everything going good? Very good. It's very nice of you here. These people all came and like
look at his face.
20-minute notice, and I think it's fair.
I'm sorry, guys. It's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Okay, we'll go back. Oh no. He's not wasted. For those of you who just joined, I was just playing this in slow motion so that we could watch the humiliation of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in slow motion. So we're going to go back and we're going to like watch it in like normal speed and then listen to the part where President Trump says like these people basically came on 20 minutes notice. That's also another flex for President Trump, right? So when he says, all these people came on 20 minutes notice, that includes all of the Arab countries there as well that we've gone through, like the King of Jordan, like all these people. He's saying that these people listen to me, right? So he's basically saying that when I want something, I get it. And when I want something, people listen to me, right? So when he says these people came on 20 minutes notice, he's signaling to them and to everyone else, all the other politicians watching, that he is in charge and he is, the leader of the free world. So keep that in mind, because that's another one of his like off the cuff comments, right? Like that's obviously not going to be in the teleprompter, right? Like his staff wouldn't have written in his notes, these people came on, 20 minutes notice. No staffer is going to write that. So that's an off the cuff comment. Again, that is a power move. That is basically signaling that he's in charge and people listen to him.
Good Kingdom. Where's our friend? Where? Come here. Is everything going good? Very good. It's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice.
It's also interesting that when he says, these people came on 20-minute notice, he's basically referring to like Keir Starmer and, all those other, he's basically saying like, oh yeah, Maloney's like trying not to laugh. Like she's trying not to like laugh out loud right now. But when he says like these people came on 20 minutes notice, it's not by accident that that's what he says when he's dismissing Keir Starmer, right? So he dismisses him and he's like, yeah, like these people come here on 20 minutes notice, right? Like he's basically putting them all in their place and humiliating them. And then Mark Carney here with just like the awkward laugh. And then you can even see like Keir Starmer, like his slumped shoulders, like he's like a, little boy who's been, like scolded by his parents, right? So, okay. I'm going to go back and then we'll continue because I want to finish this. And we've been going for like 2.5 hours now on like a 30-minute speech.
Great.
Okay.
United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Where? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others. And it's such a compliment to what we're doing, because what we've done is something very unique and very special. So it's perhaps the wealthiest and most powerful group of nations ever assembled at one time, which is a big thing. We have achieved together in recent days a change that really is historic, and it's going to be remembered forever. And I want to thank the American team for their amazing work, and I want to thank, I think he'll go down as the greatest Secretary of State in the history of our country. I really believe that, Marco, or I wouldn't say it. Marco Rubio, I wouldn't say it. Maybe I would. You're doing a great job. I'll tell you, he's on course to do it. We've done a lot of work in 9 months. We've done a lot of work. I say that, 1 year ago, a little more, but 1 year ago, America, the United States of America was was a dead country. The king told me, and I use that, he said, sir, 1 year ago, it was a dead country. Today, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it is. It's the hottest country. So many investors are here. We have over $17 trillion being invested in the United States, which is a record that nobody has ever beaten. I don't think anybody will. And we still have 4 months to go before it's a year. So in 8 months, we have over 17 trillion. We're actually very close to $18 trillion. There's never been, as an example, the previous administration had less than $1 trillion over 4 years. We have, we're close to breaking $18 trillion in 8 months. That's pretty amazing. No country's ever done that.
Guys, can we just take a moment to appreciate Keir Starmer's expression? I think he's still traumatized by what happened to him. I think he's still upset about how President Trump treated him. Like he looks so deflated here. He's probably just going over that moment in his head, and he's wondering, like, what the hell just happened to me? Like, he's probably still like just, still processing how President Trump humiliated him like that. It's just so funny, his expression.
I want to also thank Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and my son-in-law and a great guy, Jared Kushner.
And you can also tell, like prior to President Trump embarrassing him, he was all like laughing and like joking with like Mark Carney and whatever. And now like he's very somber and serious, right? So definitely a change in mood.
Even have my daughter here, Ivanka. Ivanka, please stand up. Ivanka's here. Wow. Thank you, Ivanka. We have a great team.
Did you see that look? Did you see the look he gave Trump?
Stand up. Ivanka's here. Wow.
Okay, first of all, that's like the most awkward smile. Look at that smile. Do you see how awkward he looks? Like, okay. And then look at how he's like looking at Trump. Like, he is not a happy man right now. And
Thank you.
Clapping too,
we have
right?
a great team, and we have, as you
clap.
know, General Raisin Kane. We have John Radcliffe. We have Tom Barrack. We have really a lot of good talent. We have Pete Hegseth, who's now Department of War as opposed to Department of Defense. We made a little change. Somehow I like the name better. So do you. So do a lot of people. But the momentous breakthrough that we're here to celebrate tonight is more than the end of the war in Gaza. It's with God's help. It'll be the new beginning for an entire beautiful Middle East. From this moment forward, we can build a region that's strong and stable and prosperous and united in rejecting the path of terror once and for all. We want to get rid of the terror and get on to other things. There are many other things in life that are so good. The final sprint to this deal began less than 3 weeks ago on the sidelines of the United Nations in New York. I met with many of the people in this room, and it all just started coming together. I've known so many of you for so long. You're friends of mine. You're great people. I have a couple I don't like in particular, but I won't tell you who. I have actually a few of them I don't like at all, but you'll never find out who they are. Well, maybe you will.
Look at Keir Starmer's expression. Look at Mark Carney's expression. They know that President Trump is speaking about them. Like it's obvious. Like they know. Let's go back and watch that again.
Weeks ago on the sidelines of the United Nations in New York, I met with many of the people in this room, and it all just started coming together. I've known so many of you for so long. You're friends of mine. You're great people. I have a couple I don't like in particular, but I won't.
He has a couple he doesn't like in particular. Guys, I literally just broke it down for you. So the way that he was going through and introducing the various countries, that in and of itself showed you guys exactly who he likes and who he does not like. And I can tell you that Dumb and Dumber over here, Starmer and Carney, literally at the bottom of the list, right? Like he does not like them. He does not like them.
I'll tell you who. I have actually a few of them I don't like at all, but you'll never find out who they are. Well, maybe you will, come to think of it.
Okay, so watch this again, but look at Mark Carney. So Mark Carney's kind of zoning off to the side. And then as soon as President Trump says, you'll never find out who I don't like. And then he's like, or maybe you will. As soon as he says, or maybe you will, Carney just like, what? Like he literally turns his head and this is his expression on his face. Go back and watch this.
Actually, a few of them I don't like at all, but you'll never find out who they are. Well, maybe you will, come to think of it. But I have most of you who I like a lot and I respect a lot. Maybe that's more important. We listened and we exchanged ideas and we kept pushing forward until the job was done. And the first steps to peace are always the hardest. And today we've taken them and we've put them all together and we've come up with this beautiful mix like nobody thought was possible. And as you know, I've just come from Israel. It was an amazing day to watch the hostages come in and to watch all of the other things and do all of the other things that we did. And like all of us here this evening, the Israeli people are overjoyed that the war has ended. Many of you have had dancing in the streets. They had dancing in the streets. And they've been dancing for weeks now once they heard about this and they heard that it was even a possibility. They're elated at the arrival of the hostages and excited to begin this new chapter for the entire region. And it's going to be that. And they are going to be great partners. And I hope everybody's going to join the Abraham Accord. I like to say the Avraham. I love Avraham, but somehow it doesn't sound as good when I say it as it does when some of my other friends say it who are from the region. But we're going to get a lot of people joining the Abraham Accords. We have the four great nations that did it early on and they stayed with it. And then you had the Biden administration, which is the worst administration in the history of our country. And obviously they did nothing on that and anything else. And so it stayed at four. And now a lot of people, even today, they're talking about all joining up. So many people have talked to me about that. And it's going to be a great tribute to really the United States. I mean, the United States has worked very hard in the Middle East. So it would be a tribute to us and to Jared and to Steve and to all of the people, Marco, all of the people that have worked so hard on that. And it really is going to it's going to guarantee that it all stays together. You're going to do well because the four nations do very well. I mean, they do extremely, as they're wealthy, but they're a lot wealthier because of it. So I hope everybody's now joining up. Now we have no excuses. We don't have a Gaza and we don't have an Iran as an excuse. That was a good excuse, but we don't have that anymore.
So again, I wish that when he was referring to the Islamic Republic, he would say the Islamic Republic, because again, Iran is occupied by the Islamic Republic. Prior to 1979, Iran was the biggest ally of the United States in the Middle East. It was also a huge ally of Israel as well. And it was only when the Islamists took over my country and, occupied the country that all this jihad and everything started. But this is really interesting. So he's basically saying, this is what I said at the beginning. And, I've been going on for quite a while. So I'm going to probably leave it here and then start again tomorrow because I do have other commitments. But I just wanted to say this goes back to what I spoke about earlier when I was speaking about one of the core foundational pillars of the Islamic Republic being its never-ending jihad against Israel and the Middle East. Israel and the United States, right? So literally one of the foundational pillars of the Islamic Republic, which is why you're never going to see the Islamic Republic sign into any sort of peace treaty with Israel or with the United States. So I think I'm going to leave it here because I have been streaming for almost 3 hours and I'm getting a little tired. I got a little distracted with the political analysis with Trump and, all the other politicians and the body language, but it was just so fascinating. And you guys were interested in that. So I'm happy to have gone over all of that with you. But I would say definitely, tune in tomorrow. If you're following me on, YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're on X, of course, like and subscribe as well. And make sure you follow me on my YouTube channel as well, because I go live Monday to Fridays at around 12 noon Eastern. And I talk about the pressing issues of the day when it comes to the Middle East. So make sure that you join me tomorrow because I'm going to continue speaking about the Peace Summit. And I'm going to really dive into why I think that the current peace in the Middle East might not necessarily last. I'm going to dive into why I think Islamic terrorists are just using this opportunity to buy time before they resume their jihad and terrorism against Israel, against the United States, and against other Western countries. So I'm definitely going to dive into all of that and give you the Iranian perspective. So thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Especially thank you to all of the new viewers. Great to have you here, and I look forward to continuing this conversation with you all tomorrow. And as always, Payande Iran and Javid Shah.